That's all you can really ask is just please God win a football game. And we'll talk to TJ Lang at 5 o'clock. They had to have that win. They got that win, and they got it with relative ease. But I come away from it, and I don't feel as good as I thought I'd feel. So what I wanted to do was this. They're 4-4 after 8 games. We are at that halfway mark, okay? The difficult part of the schedule, that front-loaded part of the schedule, it's done. Now you have the Bears twice. Now you have the Cleveland Browns. Now you have, Minnesota coming to you. This is supposed to be the part of the schedule you make your hay and kind of get yourself back in the mix. But watching last night's game, I came away feeling like, wow, what an awful product both ways. Green Bay was absolutely awful. Awful. From a game plan standpoint with Brett Hundley to an execution standpoint to a toothless defense that has no pass rush. And there are the Lions that are dictating play, and yet I'm watching it and going, man, I don't think they're that good anymore. It's a total mind bleep. Goal line issues and short yardage issues again. Amir Abdullah ball security issues again. Stafford looked pretty good. Made a couple of big-time throws and kind of just kept everything on schedule. But I don't know why coming out of last night I don't feel better about it. I don't know if I'm way off base with this. So here's what I wanted to set up. And hopefully I can be persuaded to change how I feel, or I don't know, maybe some of you guys agree with me. But if the Lions were a stock, what would you do with them as it relates to this division? After last night, they went to Lambeau, took care of business against a dead Packer team, right? Their season's over. I think we all agree with it. They're not going anywhere, Brett Hundley. You buying Lions stock right now that they're going to win this division? That they're back on track, they're getting Taylor Decker back probably next week against the Brownies, and you want to buy Lions stock while it's low? Or would you sell Lions stock that you've seen enough, you don't believe they're going to win the division, and you think the people who are buyers are idiots? Or maybe you're like me and you want to hold. Now, I've bought some stock in this team. I really thought that they could win this division. And I've had my faith tested severely the previous few weeks. And I'm not ready to fully sell, and I sure as hell am not going to buy. I'm in a holding pattern right now. And maybe it's because the last month has really been damaging. But I want to hear from you, the Lion fan, on this. And look, some of you never believed they could win this division. I know you're going to sell. That's fine. But I'm interested to see where people are at, because now, you know what? We saw them go to Green Bay, and I don't care if Aaron Rodgers plays or not. They got a win they had to have. And they did it pretty easily, if we're going to be fair about this. That was never really a football game. It just wasn't. After the Packers took about 7 minutes off the clock to meander their way down the field and then missed a field goal, you know what, or blocked, it tipped the exchange was weird, all of it. Look, after that, it was never a game. Okay? We all complain the Lions don't win easy enough. They won easy last night. But yet I can't buy in. The Packers are horrible. Horrible. And this running game for this Lion team is like something I've never seen. The amount of carries for negative yardage is just, I'm awestruck by it. It's incredible how 1st and 10 can turn into 2nd and 13 so routinely. How a 2nd and 3 ends up as a 3rd and 5. I just, I've talked to TJ about it here. I know you guys have asked the questions. I mean, the offensive linemen are too good for it to look this way. The running backs are too good for it to look this way. It looks like the single worst rushing attack in professional football, and that doesn't make sense. Is Taylor Decker going to fix that? I mean, I hope so, but boy, One guy makes all that difference. There's something to it. Whenever they pull a guard, it's a disaster. Whenever they try a cross block, it's a disaster. They try to, stretch the play to the outside. It's a disaster. There's something schematically that's broken here with this running game. But I want to know where you're at with the Lions now. We're at the halfway mark. 4-4, even Steven. You buying Lions stock? They're going to win this division? You selling? They're not. Or are you in a holding pattern like me? I'm not ready to double down on it. I'm sure as hell not going to give up because, boy, when you look at that schedule, it is set up for success. 248-539-9797. Your ticket text 97136. Hot response early. I'll tell you, Lions are dead as a doorknob in this town. Very odd dynamic. Yesterday, we talked Michigan State football. Lines filled, racked, start to finish. You bring up the pro football team after a Monday night football game, and you'd think I was offering proctology exams to my listeners. Sully, it's your team. It's your fan base. I've never claimed to understand Lion fan. They just go to Lambeau, get a win they had to have. Now, if they lost that game last night, I'd have 10 full lines of people wanting to bitch and moan nonstop.
Sure.
But they got a W. They did it pretty easily. And I didn't come away all kinds of impressed. But I think it's a very interesting conversation to have now. The next 2 weeks, it's Browns and Bears. You should win them both. You should be 6-4. I'm pretty sure Minnesota's going to drop one of the next two. The game on Thanksgiving will be a de facto NFC North eliminator. You win the game, you own the tiebreak. You lose the game, you're probably too far back to make it up. You want to buy, you want to sell, or you want to hold. That's really what it comes down to here. And the secondary issue is this morbid running game. And guys, I don't have the answer. I have said I think schematically something isn't meshed. The timing isn't right. The blocks take too long. The running backs don't wait long enough. It's a bad combo. Hell, even TJ tackled his own running back last night. That was a good time. But I tell you, they don't need to have the best ground game in the league to go where they want to go, but it's got to be better than this. It is a disaster. It's a disaster. I mean, on the goal line, run, and you don't get anywhere. And, oh, by the way, Abdullah fumbles the ball twice last night. Come on.
His good buddy, the outstanding pitcher for the Dodgers.
There's a stupid Kershaw reference. That's always going to happen.
How about that audio? You got Clayton Kershaw reference and Clay Matthews yelling at TJ for tackling.
Well, listen, TJ had a good night blocking. I mean, Clay Matthews lined up over him. Mike Daniels lined up over him. He played well. I mean, he kept his QB clean. But the run blocking has been a debacle. And I don't think it's just about the Jimmies and the Joes. I think there is something to the X's and the O's here.
This is the worst short yardage offense in football.
It is. I mean, look, guys, look, you don't have to have a great rushing attack. You don't. You can do it other ways. I've lived for years with my Giants not being able to run the ball on 3rd and short. I'm talking a decade that the Giants can't get a 3rd and 1. Ask Big G, he'd tell you. I mean, it's been a long-term problem for my football team. I know what it looks like.
Come on.
Dad, it's the truth. The point is, you got to be better than this. This is hapless.
Can I answer your question real quick, Mike?
I mean, what am I going to do, say no?
I am going to buy Lion stock. I think that, and when I want to explain it here, when you look at the schedule, as you mentioned, Lions, they already have beat Minnesota. That's going to be a huge game on Thanksgiving. But even when you look at the two, I'm looking right now, the two schedules respectively, Vikings have a tough schedule remaining with Washington, the Rams, obviously the Lions, Atlanta, and Carolina.
They're going to lose one of their next two.
When you look at Detroit, it's just such an easier schedule the rest of the way. I mean, the only really tough games that the Lions have remaining on the schedule, Vikings and the Ravens. Besides that, Lions, I'm not going to say they should win every game, but they pretty much should win every game.
Yeah, Mike, that's why I said if they don't win the division, Caldwell should be fired. Like, at some point, you've got to take the next step, and they need to hire a coach that they believe can get them to a Super Bowl. And clearly I don't believe Caldwell is that. I've started to question Jim Bob Cooter. I thought the offense was okay, but no disrespect to anybody. When you have all day to throw the ball, I mean, I'd hope you'd be able to produce a few things. Now, look, Stafford looked really good. He also had 18 seconds to throw the ball. So the truth will lie in the middle. This ground game is so bad so often. And it's not just not gaining a whole lot of yards. Mike, like 25% of their runs go for negative yardage. It's unbelievable. 248-539-9797. Are you buying Lion stock, selling the stock, or are you just going to hold for right now?